Another player who might be taking a little rest day soon is Carmelo Anthony. The New York Post with the back page, gimme a break. So after 2 straight games of terrible shooting against the Lakers and the Suns, the New York Post is reporting the Knicks are heavily considering sitting Carmelo for a game to get him rest. And the team wanted to sit him last week against the Cavaliers, but he decided he wanted to play. So, Max, we've discussed the idea of Carmelo being traded before. But right now I'm asking you, why should he be traded?
Well, every day is the best day to trade Carmelo because he's only getting older. He's not getting any younger. He should be traded because you are not going to win a championship with Carmelo Anthony, partly because his prime will not coincide with Porzingis's, and also partly because he is not capable of being the best player on a championship team. Now, I know it feels like I'm always throwing shade at Carmelo. I acknowledge he's an excellent offensive player, and his offense is so special. His scoring is so special. He's just an excellent player, period. But I do not rate him as highly as others do. And you know, I picked Syracuse to win because he was on that team back in the day. I was a fan of his. Stephen A., the best time to trade Carmelo Anthony was during Linsanity, actually, not after. When D'Antoni was the coach and he had a point guard who wasn't even great, just good and willing to buy in, and the team was buying in, they won and won and won. And everyone at the time said, well, when Carmelo comes back, he's a ball stopper, it's going to interfere. And I was arguing with people, no, Carmelo just wants to win. Don't worry about that. And you know what happened? Carmelo came back and the ball stopped and they stopped winning, just as everyone had told me would happen. So I had to adjust the way I thought about things. And the best thing would have been, at the time, once you saw what D'Antoni was capable of doing, he wasn't going to win any championships, but neither was Carmelo. D'Antoni was going to be able to create an atmosphere conducive not only to winning and exciting play, but to other players and stars wanting to play for the Knicks in the biggest market because they'd have been playing an exciting ball-sharing style. They should have traded Carmelo right then. They didn't. They blew it. Except for one season, they've been terrible since then, and the only good thing to come out of it is they got to draft Kristaps Porzingis, which is an unintended consequence of being as bad as they've been with Carmelo as the best player. Trade him now because you couldn't trade him yesterday. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Well, my problem with your synopsis and your evaluation is that you're blaming Carmelo instead of Phil Jackson, as far as I'm concerned, and that's where my problem lies. Should Carmelo Anthony be traded? Absolutely. I think he should get the hell out of New York. By the way, in the interest of full disclosure, periodically throughout the last year or so, Melo and I have argued about this on several occasions. He wants to stay. He's committed to being a New York Knick. He loves New York. He wants success to take place here under his watch. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he should stay in New York. I think he needs to get the hell out of New York as quick as he possibly can, whether it's finding a way to get to Cleveland with LeBron or finding a way to get to the Clippers with CP3. I think he should get the hell up out of here quick, fast, and in a hurry because Phil Jackson isn't doing a good job of building this team. They're not awful by any stretch of their imagination, but one could argue that's to the detriment of this franchise because being middle of the road is the worst that you can be. You're not god-awful, but at the same time, you're not even anywhere in a vicinity to sniff a championship. And that's where the New York Knicks are right now. You got Derrick Rose, back spasms and all. Once again, he can't go. You got Joakim Noah, already injured, already looking old, already looking hobbled. He's in the first year of a 4-year, $72 million deal. This is what Phil gave him. By the way, you could have used some of that money to sit up there and spend it on D. Wade being in New York instead of Courtney Lee, but you didn't do that. And don't even get me started with the bench or lack thereof. This is the situation that's going on with the New York Knicks. It's got Phil and Mr. Big Chief Triangle, as Jeff Van Gundy once called him. In the midst of all of this, he's the orchestrator of all of this, making headlines for all the wrong reasons, engaging in the kind of distractions New Yorkers don't need, and Melo certainly doesn't need, not giving a damn how it comes across, not giving a damn how it looks, and clearly not giving a damn about how it impacts the New York Knicks.
But
so
Stephen
as far as I'm concerned, what do we have? Melo 32, Derrick Rose injured, Joakim Noah looking injured and old, and by the way, Courtney Lee, who's younger, but who gives a damn because he's no D-Wade. That is what we have in New York.
Courtney Lee's the right kind of player the Knicks should be looking for. Just a little bit old, and they gave him too many years. That was what the market dictated.
It didn't dictate it. They didn't have to.
You're making the Phil Jackson point. Where were the Knicks' fortunes before Phil Jackson? Under Carmelo, they had one good season. One. They didn't make the conference finals. That was it. And that predates Phil Jackson. So the constant here of the Knicks not being good is Carmelo. And it's not because he's not good. It's because he's not good enough. He's not good enough to lure other stars to New York. He's not good enough to be the best player on a championship team.
But you're making the wrong argument, because I'm not disputing that.
Therefore,
I'm not disputing that he shouldn't be traded. That's the whole point.
But you're blaming Phil, but his problems predate Phil.
You're damn right it's Phil. You're damn right it's Phil.
So what about before Phil? What was the problem then?
But let me ask you this question back. What about it before Phil? He's one player. One player can't do it all. Everybody ain't LeBron. And the reality is this, Max. Again, I'm going to harken back. I covered a 6-foot guard named Allen Iverson for 10 years. Forget Allen Iverson. What about Larry Brown and Billy King and Pat Croce? It's knowing what you have and building around it. You don't look at Allen. You don't.
Was Iverson playing in the same division as the Cavs with LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love?
What about when AI went to Denver?
It was much easier to get out of the East back then. The East was terrible back then.
Excuse me.
Iverson was better than Carmelo.
Whoa. You had Vince Carter and the crew in Toronto. You had Big Dog with Ray Allen and Sam Cassell in Milwaukee. Let's not ignore. Excuse me, that's not a big deal? That's not a big deal?
No, that's a backcourt. I'm not saying they had a backcourt, but Iverson was better than those guys.
What I'm saying to you is, no matter what greatness Allen Iverson put on the court offensively, the Sixers were successful because of Pat Croce, Larry Brown, and Billy King, and what they built around his talent. It's recognizing what you have and adjusting to that, as opposed to trying to get everybody else to run the damn triangle that only worked when you had Jordan or Kobe.
You're blaming Phil. My point is, no one has been able to do that for Carmelo Anthony. Okay. So at a certain point in various franchises, at a certain point, you have to start looking at Carmelo.
Carmelo Anthony went to a conference final and ran into Shaq and Kobe.
All right, guys, everybody breathe. Everybody breathe a minute. What I take away from this conversation,
I am breathing.
Stephen A. and Max feeling really good about their Knicks.
Guys send their guys out every night, but when the Cavs do it and when LeBron does it, it's something different. So, but I understand too, because, these people are waiting to see LeBron play. They wait for this moment, this opportunity, and, when he doesn't play, the best player in the world doesn't play, it's tough on the fans and it's close to Christmas, so a lot of it was Christmas presents and Christmas gifts. But, it wasn't nothing intentional. Like I said, it was just circumstance. And sorry to the fans that didn't get a chance to see him play. But, when it is LeBron sitting out, it is a bigger deal.
I've been in this league 14 years. I shouldn't have to explain me sitting out games or not playing games. I've played in every arena, including Seattle, that's no longer here, including some other places. So, it's not like it's my first year. I got 14 years. I've paid my dues and more than a lot of guys in this league. But I'm right with my coach. What my coach wants, he gets.
There we go. Now we got it. That was Cavs head coach Ty Lue, not in the holiday spirit after letting his big three rest and stay home instead of traveling to Memphis. Another star who rested last night was the Kings' DeMarcus Cousins, and Mike D'Antoni had this to say before the game last night. My thought on holding people out en masse? I'm really not for it. You think of the kid that travels 3 hours to see somebody and they don't show up, it's tough. So it's complicated. I know every coach is trying to do the best for his team and trying to win. He has to do what he thinks is right to win. The league may have to look at it and figure it out. Stephen A. Smith, should fans be turned off by players' attitudes?
Yes, they should. Yes, they should. There's no question about it. And listen, I want to be very, very careful and clear about what I'm about to say, because I'm a fan of Tyronn Lue, a big, big fan. And I think he's an exceptional young coach, and I'm incredibly proud of him. And I think that LeBron James is the iconic sports figure in this world. There's just a way that it is. But I think that in terms of what Tyronn Lue said, it's unfortunate, and I disagreed with his position. In terms of what LeBron James said, I think this is the first time in my years of covering LeBron James where I literally could look him in the face and say, he just doesn't get it. He really, really doesn't. LeBron James has missed just 65 games in 14 years. He usually shows up to work. LeBron James missed 13 games in 2014, 2015. That's the most games he's ever missed in any season. So he's usually reliable. His record compared to the modern day era of players is exceptional. But LeBron James has never played in all 82 games of any season. Karl Malone did. John Stockton did. Michael Jordan did. Gary Payton did. I think Karl Malone was 16 times. Or John Stockton was. It was 16 and 10 between John Stockton or Karl Malone. I forgot which one was 16 and which one was 10. I know Michael Jordan and Gary Payton both played in all 82 games 9 times in their careers. But even saying all of that, it's not about the fact that he missed a game. In today's day, particularly with the work that LeBron James put in, he's more than entitled to take the day off. My issue with LeBron James is not that he took a day off. It's the fact that you took it off in Memphis, where you are never going again this season. It's not in Cleveland that you have 41 nights a year. It's not in New York that you might visit 3 times a year. It's not in Detroit that you might visit 3 times a year or something like that. You picked a spot to miss that you'll never be in again this season. You couldn't have missed it. You couldn't have played that one and missed the game in Cleveland. Memphis and Cleveland had a back-to-back. You played in Cleveland the night before, and then you went and played the same team in Memphis the next night. How come you couldn't have missed the game in Cleveland, knowing you coming back next week, and go to Memphis, where you're never going back for the rest of this season? That's the issue. And when you talk about guys and individuals and families and all of this other stuff, and I'll let Max get into all of this stuff in terms of competitive fervor and trying to win a championship and all of this other stuff. It's not just about the championship. It's about the games. You don't get paid just to win championships. You get paid for the 82-game schedule you have to endure, and the postseason. And to skip a game in a city you're not going to be in again is the egregious part. It's not that he took the day off. LeBron James can take a day off anytime he wants to. He is right. He has earned that right. But tell that to the kid or the family in Memphis that that's their one shot to see you and you didn't show up there. That's the point.
Okay, I hope LeBron doesn't listen to you. Don't listen to him, LeBron. Look, you're talking about a business decision he should make in the middle of a season, putting the business first. And I'm saying because you have to think about the fans' interest and that pays a salary, et cetera. And I'm saying worry about, in the middle of the season when you are a player, worry about the competition. He's making a competitive decision and not allowing business interests to interfere with that. Now, as to what about the kid in Memphis who doesn't get to see LeBron? Let's see what just happened. Hey, Stephen A., who won that game in Memphis? Memphis won. Now, If I'm a fan of Memphis, a playoff team in the West, I'm a kid and I like LeBron, but I'm a Memphis fan. I'm glad LeBron didn't play, because if he would have played, Memphis would have lost. So my team gets to win. That's good for me. Now I'll look at it from a Cleveland fan's point of view. Do I want him missing the game in Memphis, or do I want him missing the game at home? I want him missing the game in Memphis. LeBron plays for my team if I'm a Cleveland fan. And the vast majority of people who show up in Memphis are Memphis fans, and in Cleveland are Cleveland fans. So that all works out. Now, are we talking about the subsection of people who are LeBron James fans and have allegiance to him over allegiance to the fortunes of their own team? I suppose that is a group of people, and they get the short end here. Not everyone gets everything they want all the time. Those people get jerked. There's no doubt about it. But when you think about everyone's interests, those people, the LeBron fans who put allegiance to him over allegiance to their hometown team, those are the ones most deserving of shabby treatment. Not that any fan is, but if someone has to get the business here, it should be those fans, not the LeBron fans in Cleveland or the Memphis fans in Memphis. I don't understand what the issue is here. Clearly you missed the game on the road in enemy territory. That works out for just about everybody.
Well, the thing that I find shameful about your position is that you act like you were always 40 or 43 years old. You act like you were never a kid. And don't come to me and talking to me about, oh, your interest was served because your team won, when you know good and damn well some kid came there to see LeBron James. He ain't come to see the Memphis Grizzlies. LeBron James happens to. You know good and well that there are a lot of fans of the game that are fans for those players. Let's also take into account that this is unlike football, because football, where you have the helmets and you have the shoulder pads and the equipment, unless the NFL goes about the business of marketing you and making you a conspicuous figure to represent and elevate and bring attention to their brand, chances are you don't have a personal identity and a personal relationship with the fans. The NBA is different. The fans are closer. The players aren't wearing equipment. They're wearing uniform. You identify with them personally. Not to mention the fact that, again, they're far, far more visible, and there's a personal relationship that you're able to cultivate with them. Those players use that to market themselves and make droves and droves of money. And listen, so all I'm saying to you is this. I want to make sure I'm clear. I am not saying in any way that LeBron James was wrong to take a day off, or any NBA player for that matter. What I'm saying is that where's your sensitivity when you know you're never going to be there again this season? And by the way, Max, he's also, I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is one of the rare times LeBron James came across as incredibly arrogant and insensitive.
I disagree.
In that soundbite. He really did.
I totally disagree.
He really did. He really came across like that. I love LeBron, but he did.
I will go to a time when I wasn't 43, when I was like 8 or 10 years old. However,
well, I'm glad you remember, because it damn sure don't sound like you remember that time. Remind me.
When the Knicks were a bum squad, if the Sixers were in town and Dr. J wasn't playing, hypothetically, I had tickets to the game, I'd be upset. When the Knicks were bums, I'd have been upset because I want to see Dr. J, right? And I don't get a chance to see him. That's a bad example because it's Eastern Conference, but you get the idea. Now, when the Knicks were a playoff team, if Michael Jordan, and he never missed games, unfortunately, and Michael Jordan, as we both know, in his prime, was unlike any athlete who ever lived. It was more amazing watching him than LeBron James. I'll say that definitively. And I loved watching Michael Jordan, but if he would have missed a game against my Knicks when they were a playoff team, thereby increasing the chances that my team has better playoff seeding, I would have loved that as a kid. Even if I had tickets to the game, I want my team to win.
You would have felt that way watching the game. Had you paid for the game in advance, looking forward to going and braving traffic, braving traffic and all of that stuff, getting to the game, having spent your money to sit in the seat. Max Kellerman, I swear to you, if you say, I swear to you, I'm going to call the office right now and ask somebody to come and take my place today. If you're going to sit up there with a straight face and act like it would have had no effect on you that Michael Jordan didn't play, I will walk off of this show right now. I'm going to walk off this show right now if you're going to lie like that. Go ahead.
The disappointment of not seeing Michael Jordan, it's not that you're not disappointed, is that it's outweighed by the fact that your team's going to win. Memphis won the game.
Max,
it's
a game in December.
I don't know where your guys' priorities are. I root for my teams.
It's a game in December, and the preeminent star in the world in basketball is showing up to town one night. And then he decides not to show up.
Molly, I have one question for you. Giants playing the Lions. Giants playing the Lions. Are you happy or sad if Matt Stafford doesn't play?
Oh, stop. It's not the same. It's not the same.
That I don't care, but the NBA is a different deal. You know the NBA is a star-driven league.
Pay no attention. Pay no attention to that question. Pay no attention to that idiotic question Matt Kellerman just threw to it. Because he put Matthew Stafford and LeBron James in the same sentence. Really? Really? In terms of popularity?
Guys.
You got to be serious. Stop it.